Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia. Let's talk books. And today I have the next installment in my Reading the French Classics, which I stopped doing these videos when the pandemic started. I don't know why, but for the last couple of months I have been reading The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. This is such a fantastic book. I'm so glad I finally picked it up. When Dee Dee over at Brown Girl Reading and Read So Lit chose this to be the group read, I kind of followed along. I wasn't ready to pick it up at the time, but I so regret having missed that group read of it, because this is a book that it's fun to read with other people. So if you can get in on some sort of group or buddy read, I highly recommend that. I did end up reading this book with a friend of mine who is also a French historian, and we had so much fun with it. There is some history in this book. At the very beginning, you see a little bit of the factions, the political factions at the time in which Napoleon was on his way out, and so there's political divisions between the royalists and the Napoleonists. So there's some of that, but really the reason to read The Count of Monte Cristo is because of the plot. Just in case you're one of the few people who doesn't know the Count of Monte Cristo plot, the idea is that this young man is betrayed by several people. He gets sent off to prison and then comes back for revenge. And that's really, this is really a revenge story. One of my favorite parts, though, was the part of which he's in prison and he is making friends with the abbé and all of that aspect of it. I really liked. There's some, philosophical discussions in there, and I just appreciated those sections a lot. After that, though, once he becomes the Count of Monte Cristo, the plot just zooms through. One of the things that both my friend and I agreed on was that the plotting in this book is brilliant, just brilliant. There's a lot of intersecting stories that start off in various points, and just when you think, well, all right, are we ever going to come back to that story? Boom, you get a resolution, you get the connections. Because the story was published in a serialized manner, you get little cliffhangers at the end of chapters that are just brilliant. And in fact, my friend and I organized it so that we were reading a chunk of the book every week, and many weeks we had to just talk to each other because we had both continued to read. So we were already past the section where we were supposed to be, and I would be, she would say that to me, and then I would respond with, me too, I just need to know. I need to know what's going to happen to Valentine. That was one of the big ones. The characters are just so well developed as well. They're interesting, and you want to know what's going to happen to them. They're complex. Even though the revenge is what's fueling a lot of the plot, there's a lot of complexity in there. Again, just so well plotted, so interesting. I just really loved enjoying this. I also want to say that if you are someone who has never who is not really into reading classics, that this is actually a good one to start off with, because even though the language is a little bit, old-timey, it's very easy to read, at least in the translations of it. But I heard that in French it's also very easy. My friend was actually reading it in French, and I kind of regretted not having bought the French edition of it, because I would have liked to have read it, and at some point I probably will read it in French. But for now, in English, it reads really well. It's not like reading some other classics that takes a while to get immersed into the language and sentence structure of it. No, this is very easy to immerse yourself in. It's also very cinematic, very theatrical. It's just a very visual story. You can imagine these people and see them interacting with one another. The ending is extremely visual. So I have a lot of really great things to say about this book. I really enjoyed reading it with my friend. We were debating characters and their motivation and things like that. So I highly recommend, if you want to pick this up, to pick it up with a friend. Like I said, it's really great for beginners and people who are beginning in the classics. But if you are somebody who already reads classics, this is also one that you need to pick up. It's a long one, and I think that's very intimidating for a lot of people. It was for me, at least. But it reads so fast. Like, it's just one of those books that reads fast because you're trying to figure out what's going to happen, trying to get to it. And so it doesn't take that long of a time. I took my time with it because I was reading it with my friend, and we were reading it in small chunks. But you can really get through this quite fast. So now I have this chunker to add to my Reading the French Classics. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts of it, and I hope you will pick up the Count of Monte Cristo at some point. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!